everyone, my name is John Kearns. I am the owner and chief instructor of Remington Karate Academy in Remington, Virginia. This is my assistant Daniel Ames. And today what we're going to do is make a first video in an ongoing educational series geared most specifically for the students of our school here. Today we're going to start with our first kata in the Shorinkan system, Kihon Ippon. We have three Kihon katas: Kihon Ippon, Kihon Nihon, and Kihon Sanbon. What we're going to do is take an extensive look at all three of these katas. Today we will just be addressing the first one. This will be geared most specifically for the students of this school, so you'll have hopefully a reference tool that you can look at, and when you're studying at home you can see some of the inner workings of these katas. So again, we're going to start with Kihon Ippon. We're going to do a little demonstration of the kata, and then what we'll do is we'll talk about some of the basics contained within this kata. Okay? Great? Kata, Kihon Ippon. So as you can see, this kata is linear. We have many katas in the system that take us in different directions. The three Kihon katas, this one, Kihon Ippon, like the other two, take us in a linear fashion. Now it doesn't matter how many moves forward and back that we make. The formalities throughout the association are 5 moves up, 5 moves back. You can work on you can do 1 move up, 1 move back. You can go 3 moves up, 3 moves back. It doesn't matter. A lot of that repetition has to do with bilateral training of the body, training both the right side and the left side of the body, and then returning to a ready position. So how many moves you make really does not matter. So the first thing I want to look at is the opening movement of this kata. One of the things that this kata, all three of these emphasize, is an arcing motion with the foot, or what we call a C-step. So the first motion in this kata incorporates a left hand grab along with this arcing foot motion. So I'll demonstrate this first move. We're going to reach with the left hand while stepping with the left foot, grab here, and time this pullback of the hand with the first punch. We call this returning hand hikite, pulling hand. Okay? The moves following that, there are no grabs. Just keep the fist closed and straight punching all the way through. So we'll demonstrate the first opening movement of the kata. We'll arc step with the left foot. We'll grab from shoulder to shoulder. As this hand begins returning, we'll finish with a simple reverse punch. The next motion, of course, would just be another arcing C-step followed with a punch. Now, this kata emphasizes natural body positions, both up and back, but most primarily on the forward motions. We don't want to be in a forward stance. Moving forward, we want to keep the body in an upright position and natural as we move. When we come back in this kata, there will be the utilization of the cat stance, which will cover some of the basics of that. So it's important when you're C-stepping to, if you will, return to yourself, to your body, then step out. So you're returning to yourself, then stepping out. With each step, there will be a slight opening of the lead foot. So upon the completion of my first motion, when I go into my second step, I am going to open these toes just slightly before I make my step. And again, I'll open this front toes before I make the step, because this will become my back foot. And we want that to be in a natural position. Again, my body will be upright, moving forward in the kata with the punches. Now when we're coming back, we're going to utilize a cat stance, what's called a neko ashidachi. And the basics of a cat stance are, as I explain it to my students, if we're in a closed foot stance, a heisokudachi, we will simply open one foot 45 degrees. We'll go 1 foot length out, and then about another half of a foot length out, and simply sit on that rear leg. And this will be utilized for the blocks coming back. Okay? You'll also notice crossing of the hands when we're returning backwards in the kata, and we'll talk more about that later. So if I go to the last move in this kata, I'm going to finish in this position here. When I take my step back, my rear hand will come up first, then moving into the simple inside block. This hand will stay up as we move back, and we alternate with the hands in this fashion. Now we'll do the kata, one move forward, one move back, as if we're doing the first and the last move. So, one, grab, C-step punch. We will take the step back. This redirecting hand will come up. We'll sit in a neko ashidachi and complete our churanuchuke and return. That's simple. Again, you can move one, you can do the first and the last move. You can do 3 up, 3 back, 5, 7, 6, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which side you end on. If you finish on this side, then you simply come back and start this way. So you can run the length of a room. But again, the formalities as taught, if you're in a formal setting, are generally 5 moves up and 5 moves back. And we do want to emphasize the crossing of the hands, which will be talked about later in other videos as to why we cross these hands. So what we'll do now is just take a quick look at a basic application of this kata. We'll start with the very baseline. So Daniel-san. And the C-stepping is going to take us off of his center line. So if he just throws a punch with this hand here, the kata tells us to simply step and grab, okay, with a middle punch. If we only use this left hand, as kata tells us, we can do this in a cutting upward motion. We would not want the palm down, we would not want the palm up. We would want this hand here in this cutting motion, more efficient motion. This moves into the grab, this moves into the punch. In reality, what we would do to even make that move more efficient is, as he punches, we would simply use this same side hand to redirect first, then grab, then punch. All the while stepping off of his center line with the C-stepping motion. Our body will slightly move to the side. So he punches, we move, grab, step and punch. Again, this grabbing hand here represents a pulling of the person, this hikite pulling hand. What we're really doing with this, the primary idea is to off-balance our opponent. So we want to grab this hand, pull him off balance and in a direction that's desirable before we apply the punch. All the while staying in an upright position. We don't need to come down. We could, if we want to deliver a little bit more power, we could drop our body down. However, this kata, in its most basic form, follows what's called shizentai, or natural body position. So he punches, we step, and we punch. Now, looking at the back side of this kata, if he were to take a step through, we simply use this crossing of the hands here as our redirect. This then becomes our block, and or strike. Okay? So we'll look at these two moves and then we'll finish it up with returning to the ready position. So he is going to punch with the left hand, kata, here, first opening movement. Coming back, he steps, redirect, strike. Then he will punch again. We return to our ready stance here. This hand simply can redirect down. This one becomes a strike to the midsection or wherever we want to put it. Okay? And you'll punch here. Okay, so first move of the kata, he punches here. Second move, here. Now we also can see nai-hunch kata in this, right? If we just stay here, then we can redirect this down and strike as we come up. Now we know the kata tells us to come back and return, but we can move forward. So once again, first move, second move, okay, third move. Okay. Returning to our ready stance. So we see that every motion in the kata has meaning. So let's do the kata again. We're going to move 3 steps up, 3 steps back. Although we know that formally we generally do 5, we'll only do 3 up and 3 back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So there you have it. Kata Kihon Ippon. Okay. We'll talk, as we move through these series of videos, we'll talk more about the higher levels of hitting, redirections, body angles and things like that. For now, this is just a baseline reference for you students who want to practice this kata at home, and you need a reference point for that. So, Daniel-san, hey. Okay, great. Thank you for joining us on this first set, and we'll see you soon.